First of all, Mr. Himanshu, a very warm welcome. The round of applause should not stop. Mr. Atul Govil. Thank you so much. Miss Smiti. Mr. Pawan Pratap Singh. Huge round of applause, please. Miss Smita Mathur. Huge round of applause. And Mr. Biswajit Bhattacharya. Thank you so much, students. Now I hand over the session to the moderator. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello. Thank you, Ms. Sanandi, for that warm introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is still awake. Yeah? Great. So, I hope the tea was strong and the caffeine stronger, because you are about to need all your attention for a conversation that's going to zip through infrastructure, AI, ethics, and maybe even your phone's algorithmic secrets. We are privileged to have an exceptional lineup of panelists who bring deep expertise across IT, AI, cybersecurity, and digital strategy. The structure of discussion that we will follow, we will have 5 core segments focusing on evolution of IT and infrastructure, data analytics, AI and decision making, AI adoption and workforce transformation, automation and its role in business efficiency, ethical AI and cybersecurity concerns. Each panelist will spend about 5 to 7 minutes addressing questions mapped to their domain expertise. After the main segment, we will have a rapid fire round and a future flash round followed by audience Q&A session. While we have mapped specific questions to our esteemed panelists, others are more than welcome to add insights or build any topic wherever they feel their expertise aligns. We encourage an interactive and respectful discussion with all panelists contributing consciously to maintain an engaging and time-bound session. Let's begin with the segment 1, which is evolution of IT infrastructure for 2030. They say the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. So let's see how IT infrastructure is paving the way for 2030 across different industry verticals. Mr. Himanshu Wadia, as we look ahead to 2030, how is IT infrastructure evolving to meet the demands of digital transformation across different industries?
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope with the caffeine break, we are all awake. I would like to answer this question, but I would like to talk to you while the conversation is on. Are we all game for it? Good. So first to begin with, it's not every day that I get to spend time with people of such high intellect as your teachers and the panelists alike. So I would really appreciate this opportunity. While most of the panelists on this stage were studying, including me, the access to knowledge was very slow. For knowledge, we used to be relying on our libraries, which had journals that were outdated. That is no longer the case. With the high-speed internets coming in, you have access to articles released by Harvard within 24 hours of them releasing. Now that is what is creating a lot of knowledge access, which will eventually help you all. And that will help us all if we talk about growing India as an economy. Now, what it has done is that the speed of innovation, which we were lacking in the 70s, 80s, and the 90s. That has picked up in the 2000s, and eventually, while we are talking about 2025, it is right at the pace where it should be. We all talk about, I come from a telecom background, so I will just give you a few telecom examples. We all heard about the 5G coming in, 1G, 2G, 3G. Do we actually know what the difference between all these technologies are? Anyone who would maybe like to pitch in? Difference between 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G? Okay, so I will try to give you an example, try to give you very basic understanding on how these things are, so that it becomes, even for the panelists, we are on the same page. So 1G was text only. You would have seen pagers and you would have seen caller ID phones, right? So that is 1G, when it is the time when humans started transmitting data over copper wires. That was the first time. That was a very revolutionary thing to happen. Now what is 2G? 2G was text and voice. Okay? Now what is 3G? 3G would be text, voice, and data. Okay? Now then what is 4G? 4G will be text, voice, and data together. Okay? While on 3G, while you were over a phone call, you would not have had access to browsing the internet or sending a text message. It would only get delivered once one medium of transmission was over. Now, what is 5G then? 5G is text, voice, data together and at very high speeds. So that's how we have evolved in the last 25 years. We've heard about the innovations that have happened. One of the speakers here mentioned about cassettes to CDs to DVDs to MP3 players and so on. So this is how the telecom world has progressed on similar lines. Now, but what is 6G? 6G is the next big thing that is going to come up in telecom. It is going to be the glass shattering movement. The telecom towers that beam the telecom signals and the internet right now will cease to exist. The internet would get beamed from the satellites. The tier 1, 2, 3, 4 divides that we are seeing, limits of technology availability to the tier 4 cities, the villages, the small towns, that will cease to exist because the satellites would not see any boundaries. So that would be the first type of the place where the access to data that you would have right now, even a person sitting in a small village would have access to the same kind of data. Coming to the question Ms. Mathur asked, how that is going to change the world and how that will add up to the things that we are already doing. What is that is missing in tier 3 towns? Do they have lesser brains than us? Definitely not. Do they have lesser skill to learn? Probably yes. They don't have the lesser desire to learn, but lesser skill to earn. And that will get taken care of when this comes in. So I will add on more in the subsequent questions, but that will be for now.
Hello. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Wadia. That was a comprehensive take on the generations of telecom technology. I'm sure many of us were really not aware of what it meant, you know, in terms of 1G versus 5G and then 6G, which we are very sure is coming very shortly. Now, as industry continues to adapt, I'm curious to explore which industries are leading the way in adaptive infrastructure, and what lessons can others learn from them?
Telecom has been at the fulcrum of innovation. It is the only big industry in India that is less talked about. We talk about manufacturing, we talk about automobiles, we talk about everything. But today, in the world of digital transformation, I heard Prabjot talking about the three digital transformations we were forced into. One was when the Jio came into the market and disrupted how data was consumed, then the demonetization, and third was where the COVID happened and we all went online. When Jio came in, it's a statement that we used in telecom that in no business school we've been taught on how to deal with a competitor that gives the services for free. We've been taught on how to deal with a competitor that gives the services for lesser price, 50% of your cost, 80% of your cost. But how do you deal with a competitor who's giving the service for free? It would be like Ola and Uber in the market, and Ola decides that from today all my rides will be free. How would the other people survive? In 2020, between 2008 and 2015, there were 21 telecom operators in India. We're down to just 3 right now. Airtel, Vodafone Idea, and Jio. But there were 21 telecom operators. Every 8 months in India, a new telecom operator entered into the Indian market. After Jio came in 2016, there has not been even a single telecom operator in India. That is where the market concentration is leading towards red. If a market leads towards red, it is the consumers at the end of the day who suffer. It will be the consumers who will have lesser options. You could have a very easy portability in between 2008 and 2015 that you could, if an operator like MTS gave a cheaper plan, it would have been very easy for me to move on to, say, an MTS. But has that deterred innovation? The answer is no. It has not deterred innovation. It has actually pumped innovation, because if the consumers have lesser choices of moving out, the chances of a customer staying on a network are substantially higher. Though a telecom operator might just earn about 11 rupees per customer per month, but if a customer is there with a country as populous as India and not moving out, in a 120 crore mobile penetration in India, the volumes of data, the volumes of availability are pretty high. Now, coming to what all things that have happened, we've had a lot of telecom transformation in India even prior to what Jio gave in. You'll be probably a few of us will be surprised to know that Indian telecommunication industry was a subset of Indian postal industry till the independence. It was considered to be a subset there. Okay, I will not get into the history of it, but the first telephone exchange in India was done by in the 1970s in Calcutta, and that is how the innovation started. Jyoti Basu was the Chief Minister of West Bengal at that time. He laid the foundation of the first telecom exchange. There used to be a time when to dial another number, you had to actually call the operator, tell that this is the number that you want to connect on, and the operator would plug out the wires and plug in into the right channel, and then the calls would get connected. There used to be a time when trunk calls, connecting an STD call used to be a full day affair. You used to book a trunk call, and then you used to get a confirmation that this is the time that the trunk call is booked. Right from that time to today, when at a click of a button, without the intervention of an operator to even recharge your phone, you can dial internationally. You can be at the click, without even using a telecom network, using an internet-based network, you could be going ahead and doing a data connection. So the world has changed. The world has adopted. A Zomato wouldn't have been a Zomato without telecom. A banking app today wouldn't have been a banking app without the presence of telecom. Telecom will continuously prove to be a fulcrum of all the innovation of rest of the industries in this era of digital transformation.
Thank you once again. You have indeed painted a compelling picture of how telecom is leading, innovation and actually leading other industry verticals also. I'm sure this was again very insightful. Many of you would not have witnessed that age where one had to book a trunk call, to make an international call, which is now so easy and convenient for all of us, thanks to technology and thanks to transformation. Right, so moving to the next segment, which is data analytics, AI, and decision making. Data might be the new oil, but only if you have the right refinery. Let's explore how data analytics and AI are reshaping decision making. Mr. Govil, the question to you: how are data analytics and predictive modeling reshaping decision making in modern enterprises like Indian Glycol? Also elaborate how can enterprises build predictive yet practical analytical systems?
Sure. I think that's an interesting question. So I represent India Glycols. We are into liquor, we are into chemicals, we are into industrial gases and also pharma products. Almost an 8,000 crore annual turnover company. And in our setup and in manufacturing per se, if I can tell you, right from, initially we had those enterprise resource planning softwares, in the yesteryears, 2007, 2010 onwards. And then we had those BI, business intelligence tools, to derive analytics from whatever transactional systems companies used to have. And today, as we speak, companies are leveraging artificial intelligence. They are using these new age tools wherein you have got data from sensors, which is like IoT, Internet of Things, to get real-time information, not just about the operations, but also about maintenance, also about your inventory situation, and also the logistics movement. So you have visibility in a kind of an cockpit wherein you can figure out what's the situation, where is the demand, and based on the demand, you can make sure that fulfillment is done accordingly, so that you are able to utilize your resources most optimally. So coming to the specific topics about what do we do and how do we go ahead and map the whole predictive analytic systems in an enterprise. Now, we first have to understand what are those KPIs which we want to track, because just for the sake of doing something predictive, one should not go ahead and start doing analytics. No, you'll have to figure out what is either a problem statement or what is a new set of opportunity which is available. So in manufacturing, it could be around cost reduction in terms of maybe if your cost of goods sold is say 100 rupees, what levers do you have to bring it down to say 85 or 80 rupees? You attack that. And another could be, how can I increase revenues in terms of with the existing resources, how can I produce more? So you are able to sweat the assets. How do you do that? You should be able to see, suppose you are talking about this hall, this meeting hall, if you were to see, conference hall. So if you got 100 assets, you got lighting, you got air conditioning, how do you optimally make sure that you've got adequate lighting, the room temperatures are set at the right temperature so that it's neither cold nor it's warm, it's pleasant, and it's also has a bearing on the cost, that whatever electricity energy cost is there, how do you keep it at an optimal? So based on those defined KPIs, whatever is the agenda organization wants to drive, then you create projects on the priority areas that, this is what we need to go first, because if it is a low-hanging fruit, let's go for those initiatives which are going to give us sure shot returns. So that's how we do. And then we create a cross-functional team with awareness on these new age technologies. And I just want to also call out that most of the students sitting here, they would be hearing about generative AI, they would be hearing about agentic AI. I can tell you, for the students, one good news is that today, the rate of obsolescence of technology, which was earlier maybe 7-8 years cycle, is now just 7 to 8 months. So every 7 to 8 months, you will figure out some new model coming up with some new features, enhanced features. And now as we speak, there is a company called Figure AI. You can just make a note, Figure AI, which has started making humanoids. And they are rolling out, the target is to roll out almost 1 lakh robots, humanoids, each year. And they'll scale it up to a very different level in the subsequent years. Where I'm coming from is that today, if you have that knack of learning, constantly learning, innovation, and applying those learnings, you are a far better placed than someone who has worked in the industry for 20, 30 years. Let me tell you. Because human assisted AI or augmented AI, people say artificial intelligence. I believe it's not artificial intelligence, it's augmented intelligence. So hard work, your learning aptitude along with artificial intelligence will take you to a very different level than what you individually can. So that's my limited thought.
Thank you, Mr. Govil. Your insight emphasizes how data analytics and predictive modeling are revolutionizing decision making. Also, how short term these technologies are, and therefore one needs to be really learning, continue to learning, and be very observant to not be obsolete. I hope all of you are still awake. Can I hear some noise from the ones sitting behind?
Yeah.
All awake? Great. Thank you so much, because, if the environment is not encouraging, I think the panelists will definitely go off to sleep. Right. So, continuing our discussion, Mr. Govil, the other question that I wanted to ask was, as organizations shift forward with more complex AI-driven environments, how can organizations ensure that workforce upskilling keeps pace with automation and AI-driven changes, specifically for your industry?
Yeah. So I think one thing which we also today are, the challenge which we are facing is that individuals who've got experience, say 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it's very difficult for them to unlearn. So making that transition, that whatever you have learned, the old ways, so moving on from the old ways to the bold ways of working, or the new ways of working. So that's what we are doing is we are having these workshops, not just with one or two departments, not limiting only to the tech team, but across marketing, finance, accounts, HR, operations, maintenance. We are having these engagements, workshops. We are also getting in third-party experts in response to basically align on the art of the possible in those respective domains. What can we do in maintenance? Like we spoke about the predictive maintenance thing. So that's a sweet spot, because if a machine fails, you end up having a complete downtime of not just the machine, but the associated production. Everything goes for a toss. So how do we avoid that, so that we do just-in-time maintenance, predictive maintenance to fix a failure before it occurs? So that's one. So all of that, what it requires is that you engage these, and in the respective departments you engage with the right team members, not just the senior most guys, because we always believe that let's talk to the HOD and the HOD will drive the change. Because many a times you will find a fresher would be far more, there will be far more propensity to adopt these new age technologies, because they are these millennial kids. They have they've got born in the digital age. So their proficiencies on these digital technology is far seamless and smooth as compared to someone who's been in the industry for several years. So we have created change agents. We have basically prioritized on what initiatives makes sense in one department, what initiative makes sense in different departments, because each department, each individual has a different aptitude and capability, and that basically they have their own interest to learn. So we have to make sure that whatever technologies we talk about, we are able to create that interest, that it is good for them. It's not to replace them, but to augment their skills and make sure that they remain relevant in the long run. So that's the core theme. So just to summarize, you have to first explain to the individual that what's in it for them. Then, because you tell them, no, this is good for the organization, this is good for this, that, they are not interested. They want to know whether their job will be secure, whether automation and this AI will replace us. So first of all, you have to allay their fears, that it's not to replace them, it's just to make them more capable, so that, yes, the organization will be able to do more with less, but ultimately these individuals who are there, they will become far more proficient and more efficient in delivering the outcomes. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Govil, for your insights. We've really learned a lot with these discussions that we have had. These have industry-specific flavors. I'm trying to, explicitly mention so that we don't lose interest. We understand that all the panelists here are representing different industry verticals, and therefore their responses are more aligned to those industry verticals, giving you a very clear perspective of that particular vertical, right? So this brings us to the close of the second segment that we were continuing with. Now moving on to the third segment, which is AI adoption and workforce transformation. AI may be the smartest employee on the floor, but what happens when the workforce needs to catch up? Let's dive into the challenges and solutions. Mr. Singh, what are the biggest challenges companies face in AI adoption and how can they address them?
Thank you, Mrs. Mathur. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. That's more like it. Great. Well, that's the most important and one of the most prevalent questions these days. And based on my experience and the discussion I have having with the different leaders across industries, there are four key challenges, four key areas where we see the challenges in AI adoption. And see, transformation is changing the fundamentals of every organization. And British Telecom is no different. So we are also seeing the challenges. It's not that being an MNC we have everything and everything is adopted and done and dusted. That's not the case. Now, if I tell you the four areas, to put it simply, one is on the technical side, other is on the financial side, then we have people and culture side, and the fourth one is on the governance. In the corporate terminology, we call it as VPTT, value, productivity, trust, and talent and culture. So these are the four key areas where we basically lay down all the challenges. So if I start with technical one first, which mainly falls under the productivity category. So we generally cover here the data, systems, and processes. And see, as Mrs. Mathur said, data is the new oil. And if AI is the engine, then to get the engine running, what we need is the refined oil. So the more refined it is, the better the engine would run. And that's why the importance of data is there, and that is the first and foremost priority for any organization in AI world. Now, what is the problem here? See, you would have heard by now that data is very complex, huge, and the volume and the velocity of the data at which it's changing is rapid, right? With that said, I think if I give you the practical example, at BT, we are operating in more than 180 countries. Now, if you can imagine from this that we would have definitely multiple systems, multiple currencies that we are operating into, and we have acquired certain organizations, so they are following different systems and different applications. And we have multiple billing systems, multiple vendor systems, multiple platforms for CRM, ITSM, HR services. So all those data come into different shapes and format. So it's not easy to integrate everything. And that's why there is a complexity, non-standardization, and inconsistency. And to enable AI, to drive the AI-based insights, you got to have the right data models, right? So that data models and that data set is of the prime importance for any AI model to run. And that's why data is important. What we are doing about it, I'll cover that in the next part because that's the second part of the question. Let's go through the challenges first. So that's data. Now, with the different systems and different processes in multiple geographies, multiple locations, there are different systems being used and there are different processes that we are following which are non-standard in nature. So that brings another challenge. There is no system integration into the core application. So we are doing various manual interfaces through middlewares or through different channels, but the integration is not fully there. So the transaction level information, which is expected from the leadership, that is not coming out from the AI models. So that is what is missing because of the system, lack of system integration. The third part is on the processes, because there is a lot of complexity, so we have manual processes. Nothing is fully automated end to end. So we have automation in parts and parcel, and Amdocs is helping us in driving that automation, and ServiceNow is helping us on the other side of the ITSM and HRSM, but it's still disintegrated. So I'll not say it's fully automated. What is required now is we have the scripted workflows. We are going towards the robotic process automation workflows. I think going forward, we're looking for the AI workflows and then the conversational AI workflows. So there is a roadmap, but we are still not there, but getting there. So this is slowing down the adoption because we need to do the groundwork first. So that's another challenge. So that's basically on the technical side. There are many other things, but broadly you can understand data, systems, processes. So this is about lack of unified data model, lack of unified platform for systems, and the lack of fully automated, end-to-end automated processes. So that is creating one challenge for all the organization, if I tell you that. Second challenge lies with the financial, which is on the value side. So see, in the latest Goldman Sachs report, it was estimated that companies are going to invest nearly $1 trillion in the near future in the AI infrastructure. So you can imagine how much investment is going to put into the AI infrastructure. But what is not clear is the returns. The returns still remain uncertain. And in the latest EY report, which was out in February only, almost 36% of the Indian companies have allocated budget for AI infrastructure investment. But only 13% have got the good measure for evaluating the effectiveness of the returns that we are getting from those AI investment. Rest are still figuring out how to calculate the returns and how to ascertain whether the investment is going in the right direction or not. Because the change is so rapid, and there are a lot of systems, a lot of tools and technologies available right now. So that becomes another challenge. The third one goes to the people and culture. As everybody mentioned here, we are not ready for the future-ready skill set right now. We are sitting with certain skill set, and we have been doing that so far. But let me tell you what is required in the future. The current skill set is not sufficient. We got to work on many other things, including tech fluency, including digital skills, and the other stuff as well. So that skill set, second is the mindset, and third one is the behavior. So in the initial session, leaders talked about the operational discipline, setting the tone at the top to drive the culture across the organization from top to bottom, so that people don't have the fear of their job replacement. Rather, they work together in line with the single strategy with the organization, for each other, so that their jobs are not replaced, rather augmented, as sir mentioned here. And the quality roles are amplified more because you have got the AI as your support to enable that decision making. So that is that resistance to adoption by the people, and that tone at the top, which is not fully there, is slowing down the adoption. So that's another challenge on the people and culture side. The last one is on, which one is the last? Value, productivity, talent and people. Last one is trust, governance. So see, AI is going to present a lot of challenges on the governance part. There is going to be a lot of risk, and government and companies are still figuring out their ways to evolve the governance framework around all the AI and the technology that we are seeing in the similar lines. So that presents another challenge because we get to see a lot of phishing attacks, a lot of cyber security threats, a lot of AI hallucinations that we are seeing today. So that is another risk, which is kind of slowing down the adoption because we don't have the fully adopted and robust framework on the governance side. Now, what are we doing about it? There are a few things that we are working on each pillars. On the value side, if I tell you, the approach is pilot first approach. So we are not going full-fledged on all the changes in the automation or technology adoption. We are starting with small sample, and if we have to fail at all, we are failing small, but we are failing fast. and implementing the solutions, again testing it, and if the solution is creating value, then we are scaling it up. So this is the model that we are running. There is another approach that we have adopted is, you would have heard of post-mortem, but there is another term that is called pre-mortem. So post-mortem is, you screwed up the things, and then you find out what we screwed up. Pre-mortem is, we know we are going to screw up some things, and then understanding what is that we are going to screw up and how to prevent that. So that is the pre-mortem approach. So every transformation proposition that comes to us, we do the pre-mortem, evaluate every proposition, start small, fail fast, learn from it, implement the solution, see the value, and then scale it up to create a bigger value with a measurable outcome. But this is not a one-time done and dusted thing, because this is a continuous process. So we have to evolve through the process and the adoption that we are seeing in this area. So that's on the financial side. On the technology side, which is productivity, so see, it's very important to create a robust ecosystem on the data, systems, and processes if you want to adopt AI in future. And what I mean by ecosystem is having the right data strategy team, having the global process owners for different processes, and having the digital teams in the organization supporting the other teams, having the operational teams, and having the sponsorship from the leadership, and having a clear strategy, transformation strategy, and which is aligned to the organization strategy, so that everyone works together on that single strategy and help each other to basically move in that direction. So that ecosystem is something that we have created, and now we are aligning ourselves with the operational strategy and transformation strategy to adopt AI. So that's another solution on the technical side. And we are taking help from Amdocs, and we are taking help from other third parties like ServiceNow for bringing in the agentic AI models and virtual assistant, which are helping us in smoothing out the basic processes and the routine tasks. So that's one. Then on the people and culture side, see, this is very important because skills and the tone at the top is something which is going to drive everything. And we have to understand what are the skills that we need to map to the future ready skill set. So we have got the L&D team involved, learning and development team involved with us, who are working on the different skill set, different courses, different workshops, so that the skill set can be adopted and worked upon. We are working on the KPIs. We are linking the AI-based skill set with the performance. We are revisiting the job description and including the IT skills and the digital skills as a part of the job description itself. So that is something which is happening on the people side. In the board meetings, what we have done is we have now moved to the SAP Analytics dashboard. We are now not using the PowerPoint decks or the PDFs that we used to have earlier for the board presentations or for the top leadership presentations. So that is one way of setting the tone at the top, that we are moving in this direction. And that is the example that they have set, and now we are moving that to the bottom for each and everything that we are working on. So that is what we need on the culture side. On the governance, there has to be a robust framework, and we have identified all the risk. We are working with the internal audit team, the application controls team, and figuring out all the controls and understanding what could go wrong in the AI environment or the digital environment, and laying down that the risk mapping with each process that we have got in the different functions, so that we can understand the operational risk, financial risk, the strategic risk, and accordingly put down the controls, either manual controls or application controls or automated digital controls, so that there is a robust mechanism and the control environment in which we are operating. So sorry for the long answer, but this is what we are doing on the adoption and the challenges.
Not at all. Thank you so much, Mr. Singh. You have not only highlighted the key challenges companies face in AI adoption, ranging from technical complexities to finance readiness, but you have even covered the second question that I was about to ask you, which was how can organization ensure that workforce upskilling keeps pace with the automation and AI-driven changes. So thank you so much for that elaborate description of how the organizations are trying to overcome these challenges and becoming more and more agile and adopt the technologies smoothly.
On the workforce, I think I can add one more point because that's very important because we have students here, so it's very important for you to learn how to upgrade your skill set, how to basically drive that learning environment across all the functions. So see, the L&D team, what they are following as an approach is digital first approach in terms of learning, and then what we have got is the T model, where you have, in the horizontal layer, you have all the cross-functional related knowledge, which includes the broad knowledge about the digital transformation, AI, different models, different concepts, which we all are talking about. So that's a broader knowledge, right? But that is not going to help much until unless you have the very deep dive knowledge and detailed knowledge of the domains that you're going to work on the systems that you're going to work on. For example, if I'm working on SAP financial module, maybe having knowledge about digital transformation will help me broadly to understand the concept, but it will not help me in the work, right? So on the horizontal layer, have the broad knowledge about everything, which will help you to understand the broader concept, but have a deep dive. In the vertical layer, have the deep dive knowledge on the domain and the specific function that you are on. For me, it's SAP financial module, for example. So I'm learning the skills on SAP Analytics Cloud, SAP Business Data Cloud, the financial automation tools, right? So that skill is helping me to drive the automation and the AI environment in my organization. So follow the team model and align your skill set accordingly.
Thank you so much for that elaboration. Right, so moving on to the next segment, which is automation and its role in business efficiency. Automation where machines don't take coffee breaks but deliver results faster. Let's see how business can leverage it effectively. Ms. Bhatt, what role does automation play in reshaping the workforce, and how can businesses manage this transition effectively?
Thank you. So before I jump into my answer, I also want to do a quick check. If we're talking so much about AI automation, do people know here the difference between AI and automation in the first place? So quick question. When you say call a helpline and they say, you know, for English press 1, Hindi ke liye 2 dabaye, and then it drives you through a set of questions which gives you your final solution. Is it AI or is it automation? Correct. And when you are searching for Nike shoes on Google, and then suddenly Facebook starts showing you all the places where you can get Nike shoes, is that AI or is that automation? Exactly. So automation is kind of a precursor to AI. What we've been living in a world for a very, very long time was automation. And slowly and consecutively, different forms of AI started coming in being. Can anyone give me ideas around what are the types of AI? This is a harder question. Some of the types of AI were mentioned in the panel today and in the panel before that. Augmented AI, generative AI, descriptive AI. What else? So there's conversational AI and the upcoming cool thing, agentic AI. So AI has also gone through a different set of evolutions, right? And I'm going to come to that in a little bit. But let's first talk about automation. Automation from a workforce management perspective is really helpful when you want to drive anything to everything from onboarding to offboarding. Say when an employee joins the organization, or even before they join, even in interviews, right? For example, there are a lot of automations which can be utilized to reduce manual efforts in terms of hiring people, sending out offer letters, because having a manual human being send out the same offer letter over and over again can easily be replaced by automation, especially for roles where it's the same OL being sent with just maybe a little bit of salary changes or all of that being done, name changes being done left, right and center. So you don't need a human being to manually do that. Automation can help automatically send out OLs, do performance management reviews. It can also be used in terms of onboarding employees when it's your first week in an organization. Automation can guide you to what you need to do without somebody manual human sitting there and telling you to do all of that. From a talent management perspective also, when an employee is already onboarded and they are in their work journey, at that point as well, things like say, you completed 3 months, your probation is over and now you're a full-timer. That communication need not be a manual intervention by somebody. Somebody has a birthday or an anniversary, or they've completed 5 years, 10 years in the organization. Any sort of certificates or greetings which need to go, all of that can be automated without a human being in HR sitting and sending happy birthday messages to people every day. Automation also helps in removing manual dependencies. Manual dependencies also sometimes cause disengagement, because if you have a single person who is doing these tasks, what happens on the day they are unwell or they are unavailable or they're human, they make a mistake, they miss out one employee out of the thousands of employees. And while from a management perspective it feels like ek insaan hi to chhuta hai, but for that one person you have completely disengaged them because they feel left out. So that is where organizations can deploy automation and they can drive better engagement right from pre-onboarding to even off-boarding. The entire employee life cycle is what we call that. It also helps in driving better productivity and efficiency. So all your mundane tasks which need to be repeated over and over again can be automated in nature, freeing up people's times to actually focus on more important things. Like for example, if there are certain tasks which are repetitive in nature, which needs to be done for the same set of user bases again and again, you could have automation replace that and just get it done in minutes instead of hours, right? So that is where, from an organizational standpoint, automation becomes a very, very good factor to drive efficiency.
Thank you, Ms. Bhatt. Your insights underlining how automation is transforming workforce dynamics by driving efficiency and reducing manual tasks. But as businesses look to scale these improvements, the next logical step is to explore how AI and ML can further enhance operational efficiency. How can businesses leverage AI and ML to optimize operations?
Sure. So machine learning is where data mining and those concepts come in. When you have enough data, you can mine that data to drive better behaviors and drive better predictions. From a data mining and machine learning perspective, again, ML is again a precursor to what we see in the world today. ML is being used since a very, very long time. Say you are in a place and it identifies, maybe you have an app which identifies your location and gives you a location-based notification of things which are relevant to you around you. That's clear machine learning and data mining, where bases your behavior, your geography, your past history as well. On Amazon, you keep seeing recommended for you, right? So you buy something and then it gives you recommendations similar to that product. It's clear machine learning. From a AI perspective, again, we already spoke about automation. Automation definitely helps drive better business use cases. But from an AI perspective, machine learning again helps you drive better recommendations and better outcomes by giving the right set of ideas or choices to you basis your history, because it mines your data. Predictive analysis also becomes a good way to drive that, where again, you are maybe a coffee lover and you are kind of browsing a lot of coffee options, or maybe you're browsing Starbucks on a marketplace, and there are other coffee options, and then the predictive AI will start recommending you those options. In an organizational setup, predictive AI can also be used to identify which employees are in the red zone, may leave, may be disengaged, and from an HR standpoint, it becomes a very useful tool to kind of go and speak to those employees and try to make them engaged again, right? So those are areas where predictive AI can be used to drive better efficiencies. There's also a concept around nudging, which again AI has made it very possible for us, where you get very smart nudges at the right place at the right time. So again, giving you an example, say every year during November, Delhi NCR gets choked up because of the pollution, right? So that is the time where, if you could say from a medical perspective, get nudges that, hey, maybe it's time to get your air purifiers serviced, or ensure that you have enough support in terms of staying safe and away from pollution. Those are the ways in which smart nudges can happen, basis behavior, basis location, basis timing as well. And the same can be applied in organizations. When you have appraisal seasons coming in, you could have smart nudges a couple of months before that to complete your numbers or KRAs or KPIs. In a sales-driven organization, if you are just a little bit away from your goal, those nudges could help drive you to complete those goals in the right time. If you are a technology person, then if you have certain tasks which needed to be completed, like I remember when I was in Microsoft as a developer, we used to be asked every morning in Scrum, these are your tasks, how long will you take to complete these tasks? I'm seeing that task for the first time in my life. How would I know how long I'm going to take to complete that task? So there was a lot of guesswork which used to happen. I used to say, yeah, 2 business days, 1 business day, 3 business days, and I would complete them in a night. So I realized if, again, you could utilize AI and technology to drive those predictions to me that, okay, basis your past usage or your past history, this is the amount of time you take to complete a task like this, I would be more efficient as an employee, right, in terms of completing my tasks as well. So those kind of, experiential pieces can be driven very well by AI. Lastly, I want to talk about reporting as well. So smart reporting for the management, I spoke about an example of, analysis of which employees might leave. Similarly, how far away you are as an organization from your goals. Are you going to complete it in time or not, considering the current structure which is happening? If not, then do you want to increase your deadlines, or do you want to reduce the amount of tasks which are included in those deadlines? And lastly, Gen AI can also be very useful in helping, and it's a very unpopular opinion, a lot of people don't like it in companies, but you could use Gen AI to create your presentations. You could use Gen AI to have baseline white papers which you need to create, and then obviously as a human you have to update them. But like, I, as a technology professional, I am very encouraging for people to use Gen AI. Use ChatGPT for your PPTs. At least you will save 30 minutes of creating a boring structure, and then you smartly update it, but it saves you a lot of time. So these are a few examples I wanted to just share in terms of AI being useful in the workplace.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Smiti. So this brings us to the end of the 4th segment, and we are approaching the last and final segment. I understand that we are overshooting time. We'll try and limit this discussion in next 5 minutes and conclude it. So moving to the 5th section, which is about ethical AI and cybersecurity concerns, and therefore could not be done without. AI can be powerful, but only when used responsibly. Let's uncover the ethical considerations and cybersecurity challenges. Mr. Bhattacharya, what ethical considerations should companies keep in mind while implementing AI-driven automations?
Yeah, thank you for the question. See, this is the most important aspect of any AI initiative taken by the organization. The success and the failure actually depends on couple of this aspect. Let me give you a couple of examples. And probably that will answer the question what you actually asked. Say in 2018, one of the leading organization in the space of AI, Google. Okay, they initiated they wanted to do a AI-led automation based tool for recruitment. So essentially, the CVs were being scanned by computers to identify the most potential candidates. And it was found that a couple of good potential candidates who happened to be women were being missed out. What was figured out essentially is that the training was done based on the past 5-6 years data, where the recruitment in that particular area had happened largely for men. So in the CV, it didn't pick up points like women chase team lead in some university, women or ladies debater champion or in the ladies group. It didn't pick up a couple of those key words and omitted them. So these are we are talking about Google, who have been pioneering in this particular area. Few other examples on the extreme side of it. We have been seeing deep fakes, right? Where we have been seeing videos which have been manipulated to pass on a particular message or for some malicious intention. Now, it's about what is your intent over here, and how do you really execute that intent? So a couple of areas which needs to be kept in mind. Whenever we develop an AI model, it should be explainable. The answer what we get while running through that model, we should be able to explain that. That's a basic level of governance we need to put in place. AI models are always full of biases. I talked about the first case was a case of a bias, essentially. Now, the governance model of any AI engagement is to ensure that we should have minimum or zero bias. And there is a whole process of going through that. And it's a continuous process. And from that standpoint, while we go through, I think you briefly touched upon it, the AI governance becomes a very critical aspect of any AI engagement. And it is often overlooked. It's important today, while we are getting into a journey of generative AI and then agentic AI, where we combine the AI and the automation together to do a thing without a human intervention. It becomes important for us to ensure that the right governance is there, so that the AI outcome is completely ethical, without any biases, without any preconceived answers what we have already put it into our model. Having said that, the other second point, what is also kind of is a point of worry today, is cybersecurity. AI system runs on huge amount of data. We talked about multiple versions of AI, whether it's a traditional AI, which we have been using for last so many years, or the LLM, or is small language model-based generative AI, which we've been using. It uses huge amount of data. Now, the data security is of critical importance. Again, I'll start with another large organization, Amazon. In 2018, Amazon, it's about the Amazon Web Services, the cloud provider. There was a security setting which was missed out, and because of that, there was a massive amount of data breach which has happened. It amounted to around 500 million individuals' record which was leaked because of some setting was missed out in the AWS cloud setting. Now, so there are errors in terms of, there are technical issues which are there because of the system becomes vulnerable to the outside world. There are, and also, please also understand that the the malicious intention of the hackers who are looking at taking the data, they're also using multiple tools. And with AI being, as it's getting matured, is being leveraged to hack the data from the system. So from that standpoint, we need to be ensuring that the whole process of cybersecurity audits is a continuous process. We are always ensuring that the loopholes are always being plugged. All the security patches, as and when it's kind of coming, are being implemented. And lastly, we often use our mobile device for most of our work today, whether it's buying goods from Amazon or using our mail system, official mail system on mobile. Now, often the mobile security management is overlooked. So what we call the endpoint security management, and especially for the mobile device, MDM, is not very popular today as we speak. Now, these are those areas which needs to be kept in mind as we get into this journey and ensure that we are able to leverage the digital technologies effectively and to our benefit. With that, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bhattacharya. You have aptly highlighted the ethical considerations that organization must navigate while adopting AI-driven automation. Not only that, you have also covered the second question that we had about cyber security threats today. So with these much of insights, we would like to conclude this session and hand it over to Ms. Sunandi to take forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Smita. This was really a very, very insightful session. Ma'am has concluded it so well. The answers were so apt and up to the point, so I need not add any further points. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us for the day. And thank you, ma'am, for the lovely moderation that you've done segment-wise. Thank you so much. With this, I would request our director, Professor Dr. Devendra Narang, to felicitate the panelists who have spared time. First of all, Mr. Himanshu. Thank you so much, sir, for coming and sparing time for us and giving wonderful, invaluable inputs that you've given. Huge round of applause, please. Mr. Atul Govil, thank you so much, sir, for sparing time for us and being with us for this particular session. Huge round of applause, please. Ms. Smiti Bhatt, her invaluable inputs that she have given us for the session. Thank you so much. Mr. Pawan. Thank you so much, Mr. Pawan, for explaining each and every point that had been given to you during the discussion. Ms. Smita, our lovely moderator for the session, who had prepared in-depth notes for each and every segment that has been catered to. Thank you so much, Ms. Smita. Huge round of applause, please. Mr. Biswajit Bhattacharya, once again, sir, we thank you for being the guest of the honor as well as the panelist for today's session. With this, we close the second panel discussion, and I once again thank all the panelists. Huge round of applause, please.